Have you ever felt that gut feeling that something just doesn't add up? She says she's busy. She says she's tired. She says it's just a friend. But deep down, you sense another story. The truth is, when a woman is secretly meeting another man, she often doesn't admit it directly. Instead, she hides behind carefully crafted excuses. And if you don't recognize these excuses for what they are, you could end up living in denial, wondering why her energy, attention, and love have shifted away from you. Today, we're diving into female psychology to uncover 6 common excuses women use when they're secretly meeting another man. This is not about judging all women, it's about awareness, protecting yourself from deception, and understanding the patterns of behavior that reveal hidden truths. So, if you've ever been confused by excuses, contradictions, or mixed signals, keep watching, because what I'm about to share may open your eyes in ways you never expected. Pause, background fades to emphasize next line. Narrator. Let's start with the first and perhaps the most classic excuse. This excuse is so common, it almost sounds harmless. After all, friends are a normal part of life, right? But here's where female psychology comes into play. When a woman is secretly meeting another man, she often uses the umbrella term friends as a shield. Think about it. Friends are vague, they're safe, they don't trigger suspicion the way saying, I'm going out with a guy might. But here's the catch. You'll notice that when she says she's with friends, she rarely gives you details. No names, no specific plans, just a vague, dismissive explanation. Why does this happen? Psychologically, it's about creating plausible deniability. If you question her later, she can always say, oh, it was just a small get together, or, I have a lot of friends. The excuse works because it's hard to challenge without sounding controlling or insecure. Now, here's where you need to pay attention. Does she avoid mentioning specific names? Does she suddenly have new friends you've never met? Does she get defensive if you casually ask which friends? These subtle clues often reveal when friends is just a cover up for something else. Story example. Imagine this. John notices his girlfriend Sarah is suddenly going out more often. Each time he asks who she's with, she says, just some friends from work. At first, John doesn't think much of it, but over time, he realizes Sarah never introduces him to these friends, never talks about them in detail, and never invites him along. The word friends has become a convenient excuse to mask her secret meetups with another man. Psychology insight. The word friends provides emotional safety for her. It reduces guilt and minimizes suspicion. But for the man on the receiving end, it's a red flag if used too often and without clarity. Narrator. This excuse might be the most believable of them all. After all, in today's world, who doesn't stay late at the office every once in a while? Deadlines, projects, meetings, work has become the perfect cover story. But here's where psychology kicks in. When a woman says, I have to work late repeatedly, yet her behavior around you doesn't match the stress of actual work, it could be a crafted excuse. Think about it. If she's genuinely overloaded, she'll likely show signs of fatigue, long hours at her laptop, talking about tasks, venting frustrations. But when the excuse is just a mask, those details vanish. Instead, you'll hear vague explanations like, it's just this project, or you wouldn't understand, it's boring office stuff. Subtle signs. She suddenly starts staying late far more often than usual. She doesn't share much about what she's working on. Her energy after these late nights doesn't reflect exhaustion, it reflects secrecy. Story. Example. Let's take Mark and Lisa. Mark notices that Lisa, who rarely had to work overtime before, suddenly stays late at the office 3 nights a week. She never complains about deadlines, never shares work related stress, and strangely, she comes home looking refreshed, even cheerful. Later, Mark discovers Lisa wasn't at work at all. She was meeting another man under the safety of a work excuse. Psychology insight. Why does this excuse work so well? Because as men, we're conditioned to respect and understand professional obligations. Challenging a partner's career related excuse can make you appear unsupportive or insecure. Women who cheat sometimes rely on this social shield. They know that most men won't question their partner's job commitments without feeling guilty. So remember, work is a legitimate reason sometimes, but when it becomes a repetitive pattern with little evidence, it may not be work she's staying late for. Narrator, now this one cuts deeper. I need some space. I need alone time. At face value, it sounds healthy. We all need moments of solitude. But when this excuse is used to mask secret meetings, it can be one of the most painful deceptions a man experiences. Psychologically, this excuse is powerful because it appeals to empathy. As men, we don't want to suffocate our partners. We want to respect their individuality. So when a woman says, I just need time for myself, you step back because you care. But here's the bitter truth. Sometimes that me time isn't about reading a book, journaling, or going for a walk. It's about spending time with someone else without you suspecting. Red flags. Her alone time is always outside the house. She becomes defensive if you ask what she did during that time. She starts using this excuse far more often than before. Story example. Picture David and Emily. Emily tells David she needs more personal space. David, wanting to be a supportive partner, doesn't argue. But soon he notices Emily's alone time. Always happens in the evenings. And she comes back home wearing perfume, sometimes even freshly touched up makeup. Over time, the truth comes out. Emily wasn't finding herself. She was finding comfort in another man's company. Psychology insight. This excuse works because it's tied to modern values of self care and independence. Questioning it can make a man look controlling, and that's exactly why it's such an effective cover. But healthy me time usually feels balanced and transparent. If her version of me time is secretive, defensive, and repetitive, it may be an excuse hiding something much darker. Narrator. Shopping, probably the most innocent excuse in the book. After all, women shop all the time, right? Clothes, groceries, makeup, accessories. It's a normal activity. And that's exactly why this excuse works so well when she's hiding something else. Now, here's where psychology comes in. Shopping is open ended, it doesn't have a time limit. Unlike dinner plans or a movie, there's no start and finish time anyone can track. She could be gone for an hour or 4 hours and still come home with just a single shopping bag to prove it. Red flags to notice. She leaves with no clear list of what she needs. She comes back with very few items despite being gone for hours. She becomes vague if you casually ask, what did you get? And which mall did you go to? Story example. Take Kevin and Rachel. Rachel often told Kevin she was going shopping after work. At first, Kevin didn't think much of it. He even thought it was just her way of relieving stress. But over time, he noticed she was gone for unusually long periods, often returning with hardly anything in hand. One day, curious, Kevin asked which store she went to. Rachel got defensive, snapping, why are you interrogating me? Don't you trust me? Months later, Kevin discovered those shopping trips weren't about clothes, they were about another man. Psychology insight. This excuse works because shopping is stereotypically associated with women. Men are conditioned not to question it too much because it sounds normal. But when shopping becomes a regular cover for disappearing acts, without receipts, without bags, without clear explanations, it's often more than just a trip to the store. Narrator. This one is powerful because it plays on nostalgia and trust. I'm just catching up with an old friend. Sounds sweet, doesn't it? You picture harmless coffee chats, reminiscing about school days, or reconnecting with someone from the past. But in female psychology, this excuse often hides more than it reveals. An old friend could be an ex. It could be someone she once had feelings for, or it could simply be a vague, nameless character you'll never meet, used as a shield for someone else entirely. Signs to watch. She never mentions the friend's name or gives only first names. She becomes oddly protective about this friendship, even if you show casual interest. These catch ups happen frequently in odd hours, dinners, late nights, weekends. Story example. Imagine Tom and Laura. Laura tells Tom she's meeting an old friend from college. At first, Tom thinks nothing of it. After all, everyone reconnects from time to time. But soon, these meetups become a regular thing. Tom asks to join sometime, just to meet this mysterious friend. Laura quickly replies, "It would be awkward. You don't know them." That wall of secrecy finally cracks when Tom learns that the friend from college was actually a man Laura had dated briefly, and she had rekindled something behind Tom's back. Psychology insight. Why does this excuse work? Because it triggers empathy. We all value old bonds, and it feels controlling to deny someone the chance to catch up with people from their past. But if her old friend always remains in the shadows, if she never introduces you, and if these meetups carry secrecy, you're not dealing with friendship, you're dealing with something else. Narrator. This one is probably the hardest to question. Girls' night out. On the surface, it sounds innocent. Women hanging out with their friends, laughing, dancing, maybe having a drink or two. In fact, most men are conditioned to respect it, because who wants to be the jealous boyfriend who stops his partner from enjoying herself? But here's the problem. Sometimes girls' night out is just a cover story. Instead of actually spending time with her female friends, she might be using that excuse to meet someone else because it's one of the easiest ways to keep suspicion low. Red flags to watch. You never see pictures, social media posts, or proof of the night. These girls' nights suddenly happen more often than they used to. She comes home late, avoids details about what happened, or her story feels rehearsed. Story example. Consider Alex and Mia. Mia often told Alex she was going out with her girlfriends. Alex trusted her, never questioning it, until one evening, he bumped into one of Mia's friends at a coffee shop. Out of curiosity, Alex asked, "So, are you guys going out tonight?" Her friend looked confused and replied, "No, not that I know of." That's when Alex realized Mia's so called girls' nights were actually secret meetings with another man. Psychology insight. This excuse works because it's socially accepted. Men are taught that women need girl time, and challenging that can make you look insecure or controlling. But when girls' night out becomes a routine excuse, without evidence of actual girlfriends being involved, it's often not about the girls at all. Narrator. So there you have it. 6 common excuses women use when they're secretly meeting another man. I'm just hanging out with friends. I have to work late. I just need some time to myself. I'm going shopping. I'm meeting an old friend. It's just a girls' night out, but let's step back for a moment. What's the deeper lesson here? The truth is, excuses are not the real problem. The real problem is dishonesty and secrecy. In healthy relationships, partners communicate openly. They don't need to hide behind vague explanations because trust is the foundation. When excuses pile up, it's usually not about the excuse itself. It's about what she doesn't want you to see. Psychology reminder. Excuses are defense mechanisms. They give her plausible deniability. They make you second guess your instincts. But here's something important. Your gut feeling matters. If you constantly feel that something is off, it usually is. Motivational wrap up. Motivational. Now, I want to leave you with this. Don't let suspicion consume you, but don't ignore red flags either. Respect yourself enough to recognize patterns. If her words don't match her actions, if her excuses don't add up, it's time to ask yourself, do I deserve a relationship built on half truths? Or do I deserve honesty, loyalty, and love? At the end of the day, real love doesn't hide behind excuses. It stands in the open, proud, and transparent. Don't settle for anything less. Call to action. If you found this video eye opening, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into female psychology and relationships. Drop a comment below. Have you ever experienced one of these excuses firsthand? I'd love to hear your story. And remember, awareness is the first step to self respect.